Let's see, this is a closed circuit test, and even though I might not have made it a private video, so maybe it is visible on YouTube. It shows you that I'm in the studio, even when there's no show going on, making sure things are running well. So let's see how they're running. Camera 4, how right there. See, camera 4, I'm right in it. Then we got camera 2. Look at this, camera 2, right down. Hello, camera 2. Camera 3, it's a crapshoot with camera 3. He's doing his best. And then camera 2, I believe. No, camera 2, we did camera 1, of course. You're number 1 camera. But we don't use number 1 camera in a top priority. Right? It's number 1 in order, not in how important it is. Camera 2, probably more important than you. Right? Camera, look, there's camera 2. It might be more important. Might be. Camera 3's having a big day because we finally found out where to put this guy. Yeah. And camera 4 has been recalcitrant all day. Right there. Yeah. Big, stubborn camera 4. But all in all, I would say we're set. Normal. Camera 2, everything's normal for tomorrow night. Tomorrow night's going to be good. So many things going on in addition to the audio test right now. So I'll just unload some of them now. That way I won't be overloaded tomorrow night. Tomorrow night, we're doing a topic. To me, this stuff is important, but it's also fun. That's how I like to do it. If I have to do something important, I like to make it fun. So I'm going to tell you right now, it's a lot of fun. When you were a teenager, you got some good memories? You got some bad? You got some crazy things you did? Did you get caught? Did it have an impact on your life? Did you get away with? It's an incredible time, our teenage years. And the silly stuff, right? What you do with your friends, pranks and whatever. But the real stuff is the foundation that you don't even realize you are laying for the remainder of your life. Meaning, if you find a couple of good things that work for you, you know what I'm talking about, right? Camera 1, you know this. Look at you working on camera 1. You love that gig. You found that when you were young. When you were a kid, you wanted to point the camera at stuff, get it right. You wanted to know how the camera worked. You're camera 1. Oh, boy. When your teenage years are filled with overwhelming, unexplainable circumstances every day of your life, you're not able to spend the time being a teen. Gotta be a teen. The topic tomorrow night, Teenage Hasteland. Remember the great song by The Who? Teenage Wasteland became a big expression. I don't even know if The Who were the first or it was the other way around, but look at it. It's a great idea. Teenage Wasteland. Wow. We shouldn't let it happen. It's got all kinds of consequences for the future. Teenage Wasteland. So I say, that was then. This is now. I'm with you. You and me. We're watching this. Oh, please, will you? You got to be careful. You've got to be careful. It's still an audio test. I'm still watching those dials. So, what's happened, which I think is hard. Now, I remember the beginning of this happening. It started to happen with yours and my teens when we were teenagers. Now it's at warp speed, Mr. Sulu. Not good how fast it's going. So I'm calling this Teenage Hasteland. You're being rushed. You're being forced. You have no time to think, feel, create. And, if you're creative and they don't give you a moment to create or recognize anything you're doing at all. Very difficult. I'm not saying it's easy or should be easy, talking about the other extreme, where it's so impossible to breathe creatively, and that is what's going on right now. That's the topic. Are you like me in this, where you get a hold of something, you're thinking about it all the time, and now you want to talk to people about it? And I got a lovely woman joining us tomorrow night. Well, I heard something there, didn't you? Did you hear that? I heard something when I mentioned the woman. Okay. Tomorrow night, looking forward. Camera 2, looking forward to this. Camera 2. How are you? Yeah, well, you look great. Yeah, camera 1's low energy. You're right there, camera 2. Yep, ready to go. A move any split second that's necessary. Your finger on the button of the Zoom. What's happening with 3? 3 and 4 gonna get lazy over there. Hold on, watch. It's 3. Here's 3. How are you? What are you doing? You good? I would say you having a cup of coffee to raise your kinetic energy level. Good job, you. Very good job, because we moved you around a lot today, and still you look fine over there. Solid as a rock, baby. Whose song was that from the 1970s? Solid. All right, Channel 4. What are you doing, Channel 4? You good? Okay, camera 4 is attached to Channel 4, so don't panic. Don't lose your mind now. Yeah, right, exactly. It's crazy. Channel 4. What are you trying to do? Start a problem? Always. By accident. I am definitely the problem starter of the 20th and 21st century. I'd like to hold on to my title as long as I can, which means the human race will be swallowing a lot of Advil. Oh, my God, he was here. Give me the bottle. All right, it looks like we're good, but the idea, technically we're fine, so we can forget. I don't know, that audio is looking hot. We'll see what happens when we play it all back. We're very much green, yellow, then out of nowhere we get like a red. I don't like that. So this show is, by the way, not even my own show. You see behind me the old show. I'm not doing the old show. This is the Walter Sterling Show. Number 1 in the ratings, like dominant, like incredible. The show is only a year or so old. I believe he said to me something about an anniversary of 1 year, but I don't have the technical dates in front of me. It's a brand new show, and people are listening to it in droves. Hey, I love that, right? Nice non-technical word. I don't want a lot of data. They hit me with a lot of. I get drowning in data. Don't kill me with the data. Give me some feeling. Give me some humanity in there. So droves, you know what a drove feels like. Wow, coming in droves. All right, boy, camera 4, you are wide awake. So it's back to 2. Here we go. I hate all these expressions. The guy said they're called buzzwords, Ed. Okay, that's an old term, but if you want to still call them that. I don't like phrases like, would you put a finer point on that, Ed? Ed, could you, Ed, would you ask your guest to put a finer point? I don't like that. They think that that's clever, and it might be memorable. It's memorable in a negative way, but that's the kind of things you hear. It's kind of stuff that's going on. So teenagers, you and I, teenagers, would you do, guy, Ryan might be listening. Ellis, you know I love you. This guy's one of the great radio guys of all time. Morning Man, 88.3 Z, 88.3. He's got an amazing. Look, the guy's having an incredible career all during my sleep pattern. This guy's He's a Renaissance man. He's been all over the world. Him and his beautiful wife. Oh my God! You gotta see these pictures. You gotta follow this guy on one of his socials, Facebook, Instagram, somewhere. Get a hold of him. He's always, he's Kilauea, a volcano, having breakfast or whatever. It's beautiful. He's always someplace. And I love that we are radio contemporaries, and we have such a big overlap. The Orlando market, and he's always out there doing his show at Universal or at Disney. One of the theme parks. Well, I'd love to have a great show like his, a great radio station like his. It's a juggernaut. It's amazing. But he's still doing it like he's a kid. I might have a few years on him. I've never known the ages of my colleagues, contemporaries, whatever you call them, fellow travelers in the world of radio. I never really kept a big chart on any of that. I'm always surprised when I find out people's ages. All I know is Sky has had an incredible career and is still going like a locomotive at the beginning of a Jimmy Stewart Western. You know what I mean? She like those with the big music and the train comes around and then they start the story. That's what his career is like, a big old radio locomotive. Join in every is enthusiastic and I don't know. I feel so good when I'm around radio people. And I have been I'm a radio guy long before I ever got near a studio, right? Isn't that our story that we would tell the world? We began with that radio. And for me, I've got such a momentous, iconic memory that you couldn't shake it. Even if they were waterboarding you. Yeah, they couldn't rip this out of your brain. When I'm a kid, I got that blue and white plastic AM radio. I don't remember. I don't think there was any FM on my little radio that I snuck into bed with the earplug. No earphone. It was a concept of nothing phonic was happening. The whole idea is ear. Not talking to you about audio. They're talking to you about where you can put this thing, and that's the miracle. And that was a breakthrough back then. That was a big technological breakthrough. Stick this thing in your ear, and you're like, wow, there it is. My songs, my DJ, my news, and I, as a strange child, I'm sure, even among my friends, are like, oh, he's so weird. I like the news and the talking. Even as a kid, as a little kid, with the earphone, I'd zap around there, bottom of the AM dial in the 500s. I got something now, and I have no idea what the hell they're talking about. I have no idea who they are. None of it matters because they're going, ba, 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 and I'm listening, and I'm hearing, and I'm a kid, and then, you wear out for a while, and you flip over, and here's the one. Here's the iconic memory. I'm doing all this because bumped into my radio guy, and I have a feeling my radio guy might be listening to this. So I'm really chatting with him, whether he's here or not. Okay. So the dial to change stations was the most rudimentary little plastic circle thing you ever saw with notches on it. And tiny, I mean really small, miniature numerals were painted in there, and you would align them in order to find a station. It was crazy. Antenna is, coming out. The antenna is 3 times the size of the plastic thing. Also, in the old days, antennas were made sturdily, so the thing really could put your eye out if you're not careful. Even though it's telescopic and it collapsed. Just watch how you use it. And in the midst of all of this 1960s technology, I'm flopping around like a fish on a dock like I always did, in bed at night because my parents wanted to go to sleep early. I had to go to sleep early. Lights out in our household. Much too early for me. I'm already nocturnal, so I'm flopping around there on the dial. Get away from, I believe, I'm going to drop a name now. No one's going to know. But I think back in the day, I might have bumped into Bernard Meltzer on the talk show somewhere in New York City. And on I go, Barry Farber in there. Of course, the legend. Everybody loves to talk about the legend. Everybody loves to post about the great legend. Gene Shepard. I don't think there's been a radio personality since him, like him. Howard, certainly. Rush will put themselves in a high category. But I just know Gene Shepard was amazing. And he's got the Christmas special and the whole thing. So, this is my activity. Flop around in the bed, New York City, no air conditioning, tenement building, windows open, and your parents are like, they're out for the count, and it's not even 11. No 11 o'clock news in my house. In my house, it was 6 o'clock news was the end of the news. In the middle of the 9 o'clock show, they're both fading out. It's goodbye time. And then my dad would realize that he had fallen asleep, and he would be very displeased with the fact that he's on the chair and the thing and the TV. And he would wake up and TV goes off. And my mom, not a word. She would just silently go to the bedroom, and she fell asleep also watching TV. And I am energized, looking to do something exciting when these two adults are retiring for the evening, and it's radio. It's all going to be radio now. I got the talk shows. I got the news. In those days, they did bulletins all the time. You know, the war in Vietnam was going on, Nixon, that whole thing. The bulletins were not uncommon. So you really might be getting some extra excitement out of the radio. Who knew what would happen in the news flash bulletin? And they had the sound effect. We interrupt this. Get on. So all this is going on. And the break-in, the headline is that one of the Rolling Stones has drowned in a pool, and they're on site, and they don't know what and who and how and which one. And I'm going crazy, bouncing around on this Castro convertible like a wild man, because it's happening on my watch, by the way. It's happening, whatever, on my childhood zone of vigilance. This is all happening now, and I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but I'll tell you one thing. I'm going to listen and pay careful attention, make sure I know what I'm hearing is going to be a big day tomorrow when I start waking people up, because it's not big enough. This is a great childhood that we all had, right? It's not, but a Rolling Stone has drowned in a pool, okay? And they're number 2 to the Beatles and Who's Big and You're a Kid. But we've already been through the Kennedy assassination. So you can't wake up your parents over a Rolling Stone, because we all know you only wake up your parents if they shoot some politician. There's a much higher level. You don't for a moment think that a rock star drowning in a pool, probably with babes and bad behavior, you're not. That doesn't rank second tier. You are second tier on that. So yeah. So all I did was take notes and become a what do they call them now? They had all these different names that are changing so fast. But the citizen reporter became the cell phone, the smartphone report. That's I right there, man. I'm reaching over. I'm sleeping on a Castro. It's the 1960s. And you still have a telephone table in your living room. Do you know what that is? Telephone tables over in the corner. Big old telephone sitting on a small table. On the second shelf were the phone books, the Bronx, the Manhattan. You had that. And then you had your mother's phone book, handwritten with your aunt and your uncle. That's all. That's an important corner of the room. You are reaching. You're on the Castro convertible. You're on the mattress is opened out of a couch, and you are on the edge of this mattress in the dark. Well, not the complete dark. The moonlight is just putting a beam over on the opposite corner of the room, and you are getting the overflow of the light over there is helping you out. Try to get to that pencil and paper that your mother keeps right next to the phone. Anything you might have to write down when you're on the phone, your mother has a sharpened. It's crazy about it. No one else had all this. Sharpened pencil at the ready and a pad where other things had been written but turned over to a clean page for you to, write down essential data points, an address, it was always who called, and you go right to the pad. You wrote down a name, a time, what it was about. I need this equipment right now because a Rolling Stone has drowned. I'm on the earphone, I'm on the Castro, I'm on the radio, and yet I need that pencil reaching, pad swiping, and of course, what happens? I don't have to tell you. I was that kind of annoying kid. I knocked over the whole thing. It fell down. Father woke up. He's screaming. Your mother comes out. What happened? What'd you do? My mother, are you all right? Your father, I'm going to kill him. What is he doing? He's supposed to be asleep for 20 minutes. And what's my defense? I'm always ready to defend myself. I'm always ready to explain myself. I'm never caught as a kid deer in the headlights. Oh, I don't. No. I know what I'm doing. I don't know why you guys have to be in bed so early. My parents acted much older than I later found out adults act that way. My parents aged a little quick in the sense that they go to bed at 10 o'clock. I don't know who goes to bed at 10 o'clock. Especially after the Kennedy assassination. You want to, Martin Luther King, Robert Kennedy, you may want to stay up each evening just to make sure. Now, I don't want to know. Tell me in the morning, and I'll. If the New York Daily News doesn't have it, my father's not interested anyway. He doesn't want to listen to the TV. Do you remember this when they were talking about, I don't want to hear the TV. Turn down the TV. Turn the TV down so you could get something they typed up 12 hours ago and put a lot of ink on a piece of paper for you to read. He loved that. Daily News. And the Post, of course. The Post is always, in my lifetime, to have a good, it's entertainment. The Daily News was very dour. Oh, things are bad, crime, sewer system blew up, something's terrible. Daily News, always crisis. The Post always had a verbal dig at somebody that would make you feel like, something, I'm not the only one having a hard time. Look at this. The Post is after this guy. You would like that. They were very accusatory and funny, but always slapping somebody around. And we had both. We had this. Ed, how old are you? Maybe you're making people feel bad about how long ago all this happened. I don't think so. Does anybody else besides me remember the evening paper? The second edition of the paper would come out, and it would hit the newsstand right after supper. By the way, no one had. I had no dinner in my life. There were no dinners. Nobody said it was dinner time. Never heard the word dinner. My father didn't call it dinner. My mother didn't call it dinner. We didn't go to dinner. We didn't have history of dinners. We didn't have comparative dinner. There was no dinner. You know what a dinner was for us generation? A dinner meant a frozen dinner. A dinner was something formatted for you to eat a combination of, the cranberry, the mashed potato. A dinner was a configuration to us. It was not a dinner. Who has, Donna Reed on TV, they have dinner. TV families, they sit down to dinner. They go, we didn't have a dinner table. We had a kitchen table. It's a table. It does a lot, and dinner it doesn't do. No, you know what? I lie. I'm lying. It did dinner a couple of times a year. Thanksgiving dinner, when you put that wooden plank in between and then a thing to make it bigger. Dinner. Thanksgiving dinner. Company's coming. We're going to eat all afternoon. We're going to make all kinds of things you're not even going to eat the first time around. You're eating later. Dinner. But no, my dad didn't look for dinner. Dad looked for supper. My mother did not make dinner. She's making supper right now. Yeah, that's it was. I remember that whole, I think it was Reagan's era I think the yuppies started with that. All of a sudden, it's dinner. There's no dinner in the middle of the week. I mean, unless you're not doing, if you're retired, it's dinner. Then you go in at dinner. You're retired, supper. But if you're working and this is your meal late in the day to nourish your body, get something done, supper, I believe. I feel. I don't know. It's you're probably going to contradict me with some etymology now on the word. I'm just talking about the real experience that I feel is lost in the teenage haste land. That's what this is all about. You're going to hear more about it tomorrow night on the great, a legend, Walter Sterling. A legend. The show, incredible success. The radio station, legend. WPHT, Philadelphia. I mean, the whole thing is legendary. I'm a little daunted. I'm a little reverent. What's the word? I'm a reverent. I'm reverent. I revere. I do. I think there's a lot of revering. People don't know what that means. I mean, is he talking about pots and pans? Revereware? No. Paul Revere? No. Talking about revering. Really honoring people, and I do. Walter, the station, and I have to say, radio lover and all these stories and teenage things aside, always the fastest, funniest people to hang around are the people that listen to the radio. And it really doesn't matter what show or person that they listen to, but they listen to. And Walter and I were talking recently about the success of his show, which I love to watch. Social media, he's got the posts and all of it. I get excited. But when we were talking about that, I am a dyed-in-the-wool back to my plastic radio and my Castro convertible feel that the radio is completely personal. I've never believed in formats and categories and, my industry, God love my experience, please. I had a gifted, beautiful career, which many deserved. Many people had very tough times out there over the last 35, 40 years. I had a gifted existence on the air. Lucky to work with the greatest people, the greatest stations, the timing, for what was happening. I had an incredible top-of-the-line experience. But I realized it wasn't like that for everybody. But the difference in my mind inside the studio and listening to the earphone as a kid, it's the personal hanging out with. I'm just hanging out with this guy or gal. I don't agree with anything they say. I'm the opposite of everything. Or I love, they're always on the right side of everything. Oh, boy. None of it matters. This DJ plays my favorite band every Friday. You're not listening because he plays your band. You are listening because you love hanging out with that DJ on the way home from work. This is magical, and we still have it. And for me, an honor. 50, this is scary, but I'll say it. This is what we're doing here, testing out our pre-show, right, for tomorrow. 50 years. I don't believe it. I don't know how. I was a teenager. So tomorrow night, it's Teen Age Hasteland. I fell in love with all this stuff as a teenager and am doing it now 55 decades. This is crazy. I don't know any sport you can play for 50 years. Musicians have to do a lot of stuff. You got to hold a guitar. You got to play it, baby. This has got to be the easiest 50-year gig that could have been available. And I lucked into it, right? I just, right place, right time. So, noisy with the cup. Saturday night, having a ball with you guys, playing with the equipment here in the studio. And tomorrow night, 10 p.m. Eastern Time, if you go on Odyssey.com, fantastic radio station company, you'll find WPHT. You can click on them and listen live. I think the link is something like Odyssey.com/WPHT, but it'll be easy enough for you guys to find. We're going to begin 10 p.m. Eastern. Said that a couple of times, but good reinforcement on your repetition, reinforcement. Number one. Number two, I will capture the show and make sure it's watchable after the fact on YouTube. This has been so much fun hanging out with you guys to test everything tonight. Do you go through this in your office, studio, whatever you have? I despise this. It made me miserable years ago. Now it doesn't bother me so much. Every time you turn on your Windows computers, I mean every time, for me, there's an update. There's an update. Everything is updating all the time. What I didn't like until today, so I'm gonna tell the truth. For years, 7, 8, 12, 15 years, who knows? Every time they would do their update, I would have to make 17 changes or else we'd be off the air. And it was rough in the beginning, process of elimination. We didn't know. It was bad. I don't know what they put in there, but whatever they did, God bless them, they finally, on this update, this is why we're doing this whole podcast right now, is only because this is the first time they did not tamper with our audio. We are getting fantastic signal into Philadelphia right now, even though you're not hearing us on the air in Philly. We're booming in beautifully, and we're booming through, it looks like, on YouTube as well. I hope this audio on YouTube is pleasing for the length of this audio test and pre-show hangout podcast. All right, Saturday night, 7:45. I'm sure you're going somewhere. Is everybody watching the conclave now? We've moved on. Is the Pope, being new and American, even still a thing? It was a couple of days ago. I'm not even sure we're talking about this anymore, but it is interesting that a guy said, right, for the first time in our lives, and for the first time in forever, I don't know that there's ever been, no, I don't believe there's no record of a previous American pope. We're going to have a pope speaking the way that we do. And I wonder, we're going to get a real control group test out of this, if it makes a big difference and what kind of difference it would make. It is unusual. You're used to older men, kind of sedentary, reading or murmuring their deal. This guy is my age. This is crazy. Pope is your own, same age as the Pope. He looks full of energy. Looks like he's ready to go. And I didn't know this. You learn a tidbit every time one of these things happens. I didn't know this, but one of the guys who voted, Cardinals, College of Cardinals, voted, Sistine Chapel vote, said that they, in fact, do ask the guy, the cardinal, the cardinal, they ask him, do you want this? You get a chance to, I guess, say no. I don't want to be I don't know, it shakes me up a little bit. I don't know, the whole thing about, continuity is great. But But here you have it. They asked him, and his name's Bob, to everybody, Cardinal Bob, up until now that he's Pope. Maybe even that. I don't know. So many things now come to mind. But his newness, I don't know. I think tomorrow, being Sunday, he will say his first Mass. So I guess that'll keep him new for 1 or 2. But I really think by middle of the week, we're just going to be saying the Pope. Or, you know what I mean? It's going to be Leo the 14th. It's very, very compressed. You would think an enormous change like this would feel bigger and more multifaceted, drawn out. It doesn't feel that way at all. It feels like he's sliding right in there, like when you come out of the pit stop on the NASCAR. You know, you just you get back in. I like that, right? You ever been in a race? You ever go to a race? You ever been in a race car? You're doing over 100 while you're entering. You're way over 100, and you're not even in the flow of traffic yet. I'm getting that feeling about the Pope, like that the Pope is zooming in. They showed pictures of him today at some baseball game, and that's it. American Pope. It's going to be like, hey. Oh, the guy said the other day, he texted the Pope. You could text. The Pope is a fast reply texter, according to one of the Pope's longtime friends. Oh. And the reporter said, Can you text him right now? And he said, yeah, because, he's not even installed yet. This is the best time. I think it's going to change in a couple of days. Texted the Pope, Cubs or Sox? Now, everybody knows that the Pope is a White Sox fan, but the answer came back on the phone like in seconds. Boom. So, a very interesting guy. Last few guys, in my lifetime, I think Paul VI looked a little bit, like he could move around a little bit, like he could do stuff. They've all looked like it's all, I'm praying for you, I'm here, and if you need to ask me a question, I'll write up an encyclical for you or something. And nothing against that, the wise, sedentary, elder, spiritual. But I think we got a guy now who's going to walk out into traffic and hail himself a cab where there's no Ubers, right? If there's no Uber and the papal limousine is not, it looks like the kind of guy who would just hail a cab and bring his papal security, but still, he'd be capable of getting himself to the airport instead of asking someone else, how do we do this? So it could be good. He's got brothers. He's got a younger and an older. Older brother, a little heavy set, said he's going to treat him just like his kid brother. And the younger brother, or the more contemporary brother, could even be a little older but closer in age, just said, they both said this, but there was a second guy who said he wanted to play priest when he was a kid. I don't know. Is that you want to put that in the press release? Okay. Yeah. Cops and robbers, cowboys and Indians. No, I want to play priest. Oh, what do you want to do? You want us to all line up now and go into a dark cardboard box? And then what are you going to do? Give us, you almost want to say, look, you don't play, but it's what he wanted to do. And he's the Pope now. So there you have it. As a kid, wanted to play priest. It's hard on your ears because of what others might have done with that word over the last 30, 40, 50 years. I can't do it. I can't even commingle. I can't. But it is a weird thing to hear that guy say, what did he want? Well, he's a kid. We knew he was going to, be something spiritual in the church. Why? Because you want to play cops and robbers? No. Cowboys and Indians. How terrible that sounds now. Yeah. You want to play white man and red man massacre? No, easy. Take it easy. But we did grow up in that area. By the way, when you played Cowboys and Indians, I didn't hate the Indians. When you played Cowboys and Indians, I did not hate the Indians. How long is this audio test going to go on? I don't know, but now you got me all wound up on this. Yeah, No, I'm not gonna go with that because somebody said to me, "Oh, did you hear that today? You know, cowboys and Indians." You know, I said, "What?" I respected the Indians. I don't really know how I know that on Thanksgiving everything was okay, and then I know that the Indian Wars it was not okay. Something happened between Thanksgiving and these Indian Wars. I'm not an expert, but as a child, if I played Indian. A lot of you know why you played Indian? Honestly, when you were a kid in my crowd, you played Indian because you got that good knife. The Indians always had that buck knife. Yeah, you got to wear suede, right? You're an Indian. You don't have to wear like the button shirt. The cowboy shirt was very uncool, but the Indians were very punk rock. They were, grab some skins, tie them on me. Let me get those moccasins. Everybody loved moccasins. Moccasins were numero uno in my neighborhood at an early age. Anything moccasin. If you had slippers and they were moccasin style, good. You could wear them in the street if they had the good suede on them. But moccasin, good. So I have to say, playing Cowboys and Indians, we thought the Indian Brave. This is every time the Indians won, didn't they always win everything the same way? High rock. They're waiting for the guy with the horse, right? The cowboy. He's got guns. He's got everything. He's got his hat. He's loaded. He's got his saddle bag. He's got everything, right? But he takes a rest under what? The shade of the big rock. And then what does Littlefoot do? Littlefoot runs up that rock. It doesn't bother him that it's a rock. He's a barefoot. He's got moccasins. He's on top, and he waits. And as soon as he sees the eyelids begin to droop on the cowboy, boom, falls on him, wipes him out, takes the horse, takes all his grub. Isn't that what you call it? When you're a cowboy, it's grub. It's not K-rations. You're a soldier. It's grub. Get your food back. Indian Littlefoot has it all. Indian Brave. So we played Cowboys and Indians all the time without any disrespect or condescension or feelings of superiority. As a matter of fact, you always felt when we played Cowboys and Indians, or you watch a movie when you're a kid, you felt that the Indians had an edge because they were willing to be wild and dramatic. And the Cowboys were always very... The Cowboys didn't want to lose their flank. They didn't want anybody to, circle them, right, circle the wagons, surrounded. They don't want that to happen. But the Indian Braves, right, you put your ear to the ground and you can hear the horses 50 miles. They had an edge. All the way. So they were swashbucklers to us as kids if you're playing Cowboys and Indians. Once in a while, you do get a cowboy who is a badass and, he's spinning the guns, he's shooting everybody every which way. Clint Eastwood, I think, really, with those early films, kind of solidified that. Many before him. But let's face it, the Indian Brave, that's it. It was the apex of the human versus human battle back in the day. Was proud adversary, an adversary that was respected and admired for strength and power all the way. All right, well, we got that all. Yeah, no, tomorrow night's going to be fun. I love talking to Walter because Walter is doing the show now. And I used to do a show where it's every day. You're looking for something, how you prepping it, where you prep it, a laundry room. He's always he's got great pictures of his laundry room. I don't know if he says where that's located, even though I happen to know. I'm not going to mention. But he's in one of, the greatest places you could ever be. And he's in the laundry room in that zip code. Yep. And and of course, tomorrow night's topic, I think we've got somebody very interesting that I am going to question they've done a lot of research on this. This is not just my idea. A lot of people have this idea. What is your idea? It's been 40 minutes or so. All right, I'll repeat. If you just tuned in, 44 minutes to be exact. If you just tuned in, the idea of being a teenager, I believe, has been lost by the behavior of others. I'm not going to go into any details. You have to tune in tomorrow night, check it out. Why is it important? It's the foundation of your adult life, where it's going to be a pain in the ass if you haven't developed something that works for you. By the time you get to be a young adult, you got to have some things that work for you. And hopefully, some of them are going to make you some money. But it's your idea. It's not somebody else's idea. It's not who's advertising openings. Forget all that. We're not talking about that. That's a whole different thing. We're talking about who you are, becoming who you are, and making that into something exciting. Something you like, something that pays the bills, something that gives you a feeling the night before. I'm looking forward to tomorrow. Oh, man, I wonder what's going to happen tomorrow. You know, when you're finally dozing off, and the next thing is the clock and getting dressed for the thing you're going to do, you want that thing to put a smile on your face. Tomorrow night, that's what we're doing. Teenage Haste Land. All right, so I'm Ed Tyll. The program that I've been referring to is the Walter Sterling Show. It is tomorrow night, Sunday, Mother's Day edition. We begin at 10 p.m. Eastern, and there's two ways to listen. You could just turn on the radio and put on WPHT in Philadelphia, 10 p.m., and you can go online and listen at Odyssey.com. Look up the station, WPHT, hear it right there. There's a link. I don't have all the characters memorized, but Odyssey, Audacy, right? Odyssey.com. That'll get you there. All right. These levels that we're checking the audio, they have been very encouraging. We're going to see now if these levels tell the truth.